Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about the perk DoorDash says will make people want to return to the office. So while DoorDash keeps trying to restrict our ability to do our job, and instead of them actually providing a higher quality product, instead of trying to make our lives easier as Dashers, they're throwing out a perk that says people will want to return to the office when in reality, no one wants to return to the office under any circumstances. So that false advertising claim is right out the window. But with that said, I want to go over what this perk is, how it can affect us as drivers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. While most of us were used to working in an office environment 3 years ago, COVID-19 quickly put that to a halt. Gallup reported before the pandemic only 4% of Americans worked from home, but by May 2020 it had increased to a staggering 43% per the New York Times. Some told the outlet they missed having work-life boundaries, but many felt that working remotely have given them more flexibility. In addition to spending more time with their families, employees did not have to deal with these office politics. This huge shift has made it more difficult for companies to get employees motivated to come back in person. Okay, let's get the facts right off the bat. If anybody has a problem with work-life boundaries, that's not a company thing, that's a personal thing that you should have been working on from the get-go. If companies keep trying to manipulate you into doing something, you gotta stand firm on your position, and the answer is no, that's under any and all circumstances. They should have to work on their time management skills, not you have to compromise your life because they can't do their job. Second, no one wants to go back to an office. This has been proven across the board that people are more productive when they're not in the office. People are much happier when they're not working in an office, and quite honestly, they save more money when they're not working in an office. That's just factually accurate across the board. And no wonder why it's a hard time for you to get them back in the office. It doesn't even make sense for you, let alone for everybody else. With that in mind, DoorDash recently launched new features that may make it easier for businesses to incentivize those workers to come back to the office. The food delivery service conducted a survey that they sent us here at Tasting Table, which found that Americans mostly miss the social aspect that comes from sharing meals when working in person. To make this transition easier, DoorDash has added self-serve onboarding, logging expenses made easier with SAP Concur, catering at your fingertips, and improvement to group orders. One thing I will have to say about the concept of the social aspect of not eating with somebody when you're on break, you don't have a lot of opportunities in terms of actually meeting people when you work from home. That's number one. And number two, that's also a personal problem because you don't know how to meet people when you're not at home, which I get it. I moved to Florida. It is probably one of the most challenging things to do down here is actually meet friends. Oh, but isn't everybody moving to Florida? Shouldn't it be a lot easier to make friends? Yes, but every single one of those cultures are completely different, so not everybody likes each other, so a lot of people are standoffish on the concept of making new friends. So I get that, but at the same time, is that enough of a reason for me to want to compromise my general freedom, my happiness, my overall quality of life just to sit with some tool at a table? Especially when those tools at that table are probably not looking out for my best interest, and at the end of the day, if I were to get fired, would they contact me? No. They wouldn't see if I was okay. They wouldn't care about me. I have never had anybody reach out asking if I was okay after I left a job or had been let go of a job. And I've been on the receiving end of both. The organization launched Doordash For Work, which explains it will give businesses more flexibility and selection to support current and prospective employees while keeping costs low. It boasted that associations like News Corp, Comcast, Carfax have already utilized the new features and have seen an increase in employee job satisfaction and improvement in workplace productivity. So if you live anywhere near a office environment for one of those companies, there is a chance that you will get some catering orders for there. So there's a good sign. One of the new options is Dash Pass for Work, which provides employees with a subscription-based plan that means unlimited $0 delivery fees on orders from thousands of restaurants and stores. DoorDash is also partnered with SAP Concur, so employees can expense meals with just a click of a button versus having to fill out paperwork. It's also offering flexible catering orders and has worked to improve its group ordering options. And companies can now apply their expensed meal budgets to group orders, making it easier to maximize funds. Okay, for DoorDashers, this can actually lead to a lot more office delivery and a lot more catering delivery. So anybody who's not on the large order program, you need to hop on that, because at this point, it's so much missed opportunity, it's disgusting. And if you don't know what the large order program or the large pizza program is, I made a video talking all about it. I'll leave it in the description. Feel free to check it out. With all of these new streamlined improvements to the DoorDash ordering system, maybe more remote workers will want to stop by the office to enjoy a meal and a conversation with their coworkers again. At least that's what DoorDash is hoping for. Honestly, I really hope the opposite. Yes, it would be good for us to actually get more orders, but at the same time, I really hope that remote workers stand their ground. I would rather see the general happiness and freedom of all people who choose to want to be free of this corporate hell that everybody else has to go through, then watch them go back to the suffering that offices always brought upon other people. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. I know it sounds like I am very anti-office, anti-establishment, and everything else. And you know what? That might be the case. Honestly, I am against the concept that people should be restricted to one source of income, being forced to go to an office, being cornered into situations that they don't want to be in. Half the time, these corporations aren't looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves. It's why they only give like a 2% raise every single year, whereas the corporations end up doubling, tripling, and quadrupling their incomes over time. And all of these manager types who pretend like they know what they're doing are just manipulating you into believing that they're doing what's right by you when they're not. However, for those of us in the large order catering program, and for those of us who are actually doing what we can to make the most money in the least amount of time, this is actually good for us, because that way we'll be seeing more catering orders. We'll be seeing more large orders, and there'll be more of that to go around, which is, in my opinion, very important for us to make ends meet. And if you're not in that program, what are you doing? As much as it's a win for us in the gig community, it's a loss for the concept of freedom. And that's something that I would prefer to support. I would rather support the concept of freedom long before supporting a couple of more catering orders for gig workers. But that's just my opinion. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!